Not me sitting outside the bakery where I just fed my concerns and worries, or I'm about to feed them, via enormous numbers of croissants and other baked goods. But in typical me fashion, my brain is like, yeah, you're very stressed about the dog and the medical stuff, but like, what can be learned, or what are we reminded about with trauma-informed care? And this morning, it's that medical providers can't fix a hard thing happening, right? Like, we don't, whether it's the vet or the people vet, as my patient yesterday said, physicians, other medical providers, we can't make something not have happened. We can't make something not happen. We can't make something go away. And our patients don't actually need us to. And maybe I'm only talking to myself here, although I certainly doubt it. But I really feel bad when bad things happen to people, including my patients. And that's something that over time I've grown to, rather than see as a weakness or meaning that I care too much or that I don't have boundaries or whatever other narratives there are out there. It's that I really give a shit about people. I really care about humanity. And it was really special yesterday when the vet was telling me that, like, things weren't awesome. Like, in all likelihood, Max was going to have a scope and then possibly a stomach surgery and all of this. And she was very direct with me. She told me exactly what I needed to know. And she also did it with great compassion. And in that moment, I didn't need for her to have not that she could have, but to undo the fact that Max ate something he shouldn't have. It felt particularly, relevant, poignant, like connective to me, because as I was leaving with Max, she said, "I'm really rooting for you." And that is something that I say to my patients, to people who are seeking care, even if they don't end up seeing me, because we mean it. Like, we can't control, we can't control things. We can't make things happen or make things not have happened. And regardless of whether or not we are immediately involved in the care, like, even she's not going to be there today. She's off. But so one of her colleagues is going to take care of him. And but she's rooting for me. I believe it. And I believe it because I'm rooting for my people and the people who reach out to me too. I also really appreciate the collaborative decision-making process. So I went in, Sweet Andrew had planned ahead, packed his stool. So, packed Max's stool, not Andrew's stool. And then, as I put Max in the car, so he's been fine. He's puked a couple of times over the last couple of days. It's all been like saliva and bile. It actually hasn't really been food. I wasn't sure what was happening. I thought maybe it was related to the time change and he was hungry. Unclear. But I was like, all right, we'll take him to the vet. I had actually moved his vet appointment to the next day and then moved it back because he did end up throwing up another time. In any case, get him in the car. Max, like his mama, is very car sick. And thank goodness for that, because he puked in the back seat, and I happen, as I do, I carry nitrile gloves, paper towels with me at all times. He puked up what looked like, it was like egg shaped and like pretty big, like a big ball. So I took my nitrile glove and I did one of these, picked it up, did one of these, brought it in. I almost dissected it and then was like, oh yeah, we're going to let the vet do this. We're going to let the professionals do this. Although I think that also says a lot about me, where I'm like, let me just take my glove and see what's in here. Anyway, so they take it in. He swallowed and then vomited a whole little toy. To his credit, it did look like a little dumpling, or it was from a very cute toy set that he's had literally since he was born, pretty much. Has never tried to eat it, but here we are. So he puked that up. But he had been so fine the whole time. The vet kept using the word bright. Not smart, obviously, but But because his food his eating, drinking, sleeping, playing, energy had not been affected, and he wasn't throwing up a whole bunch, he didn't have any diarrhea, that was he probably doesn't have another foreign body in it. He probably hasn't eaten anything else that he wasn't supposed to. But we can, we have these options. We can give him some nausea medication, see if he throws up again. We can do, and if he doesn't, we'll send him home with some fluids. We can do an x-ray and see what's going on. She's like, honestly, you probably don't need the x-rays because you probably didn't eat something. And I was like, yeah, I hear that. And I never, ever, ever even suspected that he ate something in the first place. So we have pet insurance. Why don't we just do the imaging for peace of mind? So if we're going to take something from that, what I get out of that is this is why knowing what your insurance benefits are, knowing what things are going to cost, getting as much information as possible, both for the impacts on you from a consumer perspective and the payment portion, as well as from a health perspective, what the patient, whether it's you, your family member, or your dog, or other pet needs, can all play in. So I don't know that I would have made that decision if I hadn't had pet insurance and I knew it was going to cost me a bunch of money. In any case, we did, thank goodness, because he does have other stuff stuck in his belly, as well as a bunch of gas, which is hopefully does not mean that he has stuff stuck in his colon. Hopefully just means that he has a lot of gas because things are not funneling through appropriately from the top. But just all of that was so helpful. I didn't feel pressured. Felt like I was given all the information, could make a decision. When I made the decision, the vet was like, sounds great, let's do that. It happened again when we found out he did still have stuff in his belly. It's now the end of the day. No one's going to be in the office. The ultrasound person's not going to be in the office. The surgeon's not going to be in the office until the next day. So then we start talking about emergency vet. And she was great about that too. She's like, here's the thing. He still seems great. He still seems very bright. He still seems really high energy. And I don't think that the logistical, practical outcome is going to be different if you take him to the emergency vet where they're still going to have to wait for someone to get there in the morning, versus you taking him home and bringing him back here in the morning. The only difference would be that at the emergency vet, you'd have professional eyes on him if something were to go wrong. But what's the likelihood of that? I'm not entirely sure. So another takeaway is that as a consumer, it's important to be skeptical, right? So, but also to trust your gut and also to let people help you. So this is why it's complicated. This is why finding medical care is complicated in general. This is why systems are complicated, because then it's okay, does she not want me to go to the emergency vet because her business makes money if I don't go, right? If I come back here tomorrow. Does she not want me to go to the emergency vet because it's going to cost me more money? Does she not want me to go to the emergency vet because she doesn't trust the emergency vet? Does she not want me to go to the emergency vet because she doesn't think it's going to be best for Max, that it'll be better for him to go home? Here's what I got from all of the other things is that she didn't want me to go to the emergency vet, probably because it was going to cost me more money. It wasn't going to be different for Max's outcome. I was going to be very stressed. And I know the vets here and they've been doing his care since he was a puppy. So, he's still a puppy, but little baby. So I deeply appreciated all of that information. And she started the conversation by telling me that if I wanted to go to the emergency vet, she totally got it, and would get on the phone or give me whatever I needed in order to be able to do that. So I was like, no, I think we're going to be fine. I left. I came back in. Andrew and I spoke on the phone and he was like, hey, why don't you get the records just in case we do need to go to the emergency vet? So I come back in, and then I get the records started, because they had to email them to me because they weren't done yet. I leave again. I get a call from the vet tech who is telling me that, hey, just so you know, I just wanted to basically provide reassurance that if the vets thought he really needed to go to the emergency vet, they would have sent him. And so I just wanted to reassure you that he really can stay at home and we really can take care of this tomorrow. And I got to say hey, I really appreciate that. And I'm not anticipating bringing him to the emergency vet tonight, but just in case something changes these things and goes off the rails, I want to be prepared to be able to do that. There are a million other things I could say about this, but I have to go to the grocery store, because it's supposed to snow some enormous snowstorm here. But, I could have not, I mean, I could have still gone to the emergency vet. And even as that tech was reassuring me, she was also telling me like, and also it's your pet and you do what you feel like you need to do. But it was really helpful for me to be able to say like, tell me what things I'm looking out for, and then can I get the records and all the things that I would need just in case those things do happen, and I can make sure that he's taken care of. So thankfully, I did get the records. I did not need to take him to the emergency vet. They also, and the vet prepared me for this, that they were going to send me a couple of different quotes for how much it could cost. And just having that conversation, again, that could be a whole other entire monologue like this. But all of that to say, Max is currently in great hands.